focus on the less. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into January 19, 2021, and I'm going to buy one stock for earnings this weekend. We need to talk about the rest of this big short week. So I hope you had a good holiday. We are going to start off the week, but if you remember how last week closed, a kind of an interesting spot. So it is going to be a short week since we're starting here off at Tuesday. However, we are still going to get some more economic stuff or responses from what we saw with Biden on Friday. You're going to get some Yellen, but you are going to have earnings season. So we have a lot to go over. So I got the recap for this week, what we need to be watching, what we're looking at for tomorrow, as well as the earnings plays and all the plays I'm looking at. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if holidays mess up your schedule because you love the stock market so much and you need schedule rehabilitation, then yeah, we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. And please do not forget, we need your help if you're watching this video. The first watch list of the week, this is the random account generator. We started this account with $500 in the beginning of the year, and what we ask on this watch list is that you guys post a random option trade, specific strike price, expiration date, everything. We prefer that you get time, but post it below. We buy it randomly and we see the performance. So over a year, that $500 is sitting at $4,600. So shout out to Chad, baby. So yeah, post it. Thank you. But right off the bat, we have a lot to talk about this week, but we are coming off of that stimulus announcement from Biden. So you saw it there on the chart. We're going to talk about this a lot, just given where the S&P closed on Friday. That is when a lot of the Capitol baby mama drama started unfolding. You are going to get the inauguration this week, but one thing the market was looking at was that Biden economic stimulus plan. And remember, it was pretty much what we expected. There was some new stuffs and new additions, like the extensions of the rent moratorium all the way down to the $15 minimum wage, but it wasn't good. It wasn't too bad. And I mean that in the essence where the market kind of stayed neutral off that. So we want to see how that plays and advances. And now I'm going to skip ahead here because that leads to one of the more important things this week, or we will at least get to see. She's already released a prepared statement, but you are going to get to hear from Janet Yellen. So this is going to be the new Munchkin. So we're going to see the role she's playing, but she is talking tomorrow and it could move things related to inflation or policy. She's going to be talking about exchange rates in a weak dollar, competitive advantages with other countries. She already hinted and said in the prepared statement that she's advocating for a big stimulus bill. So remember, they even talked about more than one stimulus bill being added over the next few months. So we want to see how the market takes that, but Yellen could be important. We want to see what type of foot she gets off on and how does the market respond. So that is probably going to be one of the more important things happening this week. Everything else has just been other economic data and even other countries. Again, we were closed today, but every other country in the world was open. Even futures were open and they didn't move too much. So this was kind of like a well-needed break. Beyond all that though, this week and what is getting kicked off, it is going to be earnings. So I hope you're ready. You are going to get more banks tomorrow in the morning, and then you're going to get Netflix tomorrow after hours. And if anything, this might be the moment where things can start to move. And especially again, where we're at with the S&P, it's kind of that point where you're halfway through the month. Are we going to close at a strong green on the month, or are we going to give back some of the gains in other industries? Earnings is probably going to confirm that. Now, this week will be very important. It's going to even relate to my plays, but you'll see companies like Netflix. We're going to see some of the banks and oil stock, and depending on how those play out, it could start hinting at some of the other weeks that we're about to see here in other companies. But I do want to look for earnings surprisers and looking at the option chain. So hopefully you guys are locked in. But to make sure you guys are a little bit more prepared, we are doing this on all of the watch lists. We will go over all of the earnings. Shout out to you, Matt, everybody else in the comments. A lot of people post it below. So if I miss any companies, post them below. Again, we love earnings season here at the Cult. It is always a fun time. Be careful to understand. Option trading is extremely risky. You can lose once for nears, on purpose, only thing, a wonderful day. But Tuesday in the morning, tomorrow, you're going to get Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Halliburton, Charles Schwab. Then after hours, you're going to get Netflix. Wednesday, you will get Procter & Gamble, UNH, and Morgan Stanley. We still have that old UNH play, but we like to point out the AM earnings because if you do want to play them for earnings, you would have to buy them the day before. So given Bank of America and all these companies are reporting, you can't play those. So if you want to look at any of the ones reporting Wednesday, tomorrow is going to be your day to go look at those stocks. But Wednesday after hours, you're also going to get the airlines, Alcoa, Kinder Morgan, Discover Financial, Financial. Thursday in the morning, you're going to get FCell, Citrix, Key, UNP, BKR, Tau. And then after hours, you're going to get Intel, IBM, ISRG, CSX, and STX. So I've highlighted some of the companies I like a little bit more. You'll see us talk about it, but I like Seagate. Again, this is going to be related to one of my bigger plays, as well as some of the travel and transportation stocks. I messed that up. We got out of the Intels last week, and then IBM. These are going to be some of the bigger ones. Again, Netflix could influence tech and all that. We have that old UNH play, and then watch for the sympathies. So like you're going to see some of the airlines, but don't forget, you also saw Delta last week. They did very good, and remember that boosted things up on Thursday or Friday. So keep that in mind as far as even how the market is pricing some of these, but those are going to be your main earnings. We're going to get a lot more next week and then the week after that. So this is kind of the appetizer coming into it. So I hope you're ready and locked in, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I have a few different plays. There's one I really like. I am already in this play, and it has already came up. I have time on it, but it went down, so you might be able to find some shorter terms. I want to look at it, but again, you're going to get like Seagate. You're going to get Intel this week. I think they're going to be very bullish, and that play is Qualcomm. So I don't necessarily know how they will report on earnings. We will go over this on stream. You guys are going to hear me talk a lot about pricing in a play or what the market is pricing in for earnings. This is a big strategy. I recommend you guys search the Trading Fraternity options trading strategy, or we have a video. It's like Tesla, how I turned 160 into 1600, but we explain our earnings criteria. However, I do not mind going over it, so I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot on stream this week. So I don't really know what's going to happen with Qualcomm, but I like the earnings run up, and then I want to see what it's pricing and how it's going to play out. But like I said, pay attention to even the option pricing in the premium, because remember, these plays, we bought this a few weeks ago. If you guys remember, about a month ago, middle of December, we grabbed these plays. I spent $600. I went down on them, and then all of a sudden they started shooting back up. So these have till April. They're only up 18%. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the shorter dated, further out the money, which again are going to be risky and they'll depreciate for a reason. I think they're going to be a little bit cheaper. So I want to see how they play out, but I'm hoping that you get a good report from Intel, STX that kicks up some of the premium and people start getting that earnings run up mode, or at least they start looking at some of the chip makers, and then Qualcomm could be a winner here as it is at all-time high. So that is going to be the first play I'm going to be watching. The next play I'll be looking at is transport stock. So they both have earnings, CSX and UNP. These are the railroads, and they have their earnings this week, but you also had this pipeline news. One big thing talked about on the political spectrum was Biden is going to reverse a lot of the Trump actions almost immediately, and one of the things he was looking at was the Keystone Pipeline. So this did have some effect on some oil providers, but I do want to see the real winner here, which should be transportation, because that is going to force oil to be transported by train. So I want to see how that plays out. We'll see if there's a reaction, but you are also going to get earnings on this company, so that may overshadow it. So I think that's an interesting play. Finally, I will be watching the GHIV merger this week. That is going to be happening, so we'll see the move before and after, and then once it becomes UWM, I think that is going to be a great play. We're still holding those 3,000 shares, so we will see what happens with that, and that is pretty much it for the main plays here. But again, I am going to be focusing on Qualcomm in the earnings plays. I will take a look at Netflix. Again, they are reporting tomorrow. I don't have a play on them. We've oftentimes had a lot of good luck with some of these spreads, so I am going to be looking at that, but we were coming off of a pretty interesting Friday, so a lot of everything is going to be responding to that. Again, you're right back here at this capital zone. Remember, you had certain value stocks go up. We had certain movements with the banks and all that. So tomorrow is going to have a lot of activity, I think, across the board, and now the market's going to decide here, okay, what sort of range are we going to end the month in? Is it going to start with more upside momentum, or is it going to kind of come back down from here and make up a lot of what we've already seen for the beginning of the month here? So there's a lot of things at play. I think tomorrow is going to get really active, and depending on how earnings and the reports come, it might creep up on us, or it might be a little bit slower into the next week, especially after we see Netflix. So watch out for that. So as far as everything else, I'm going to be watching the bank stocks. Again, they had a lot of moves last week. We sold out of those JP Morgans, or I think I'm still holding the final one. You guys remember we made them free at like 120%. So I still have those Septembers. I sold some out on the random account, but Wells Fargo did pretty bad last week. Again, they closed yesterday or on Friday at 8%. So just pay attention to a lot of the momentum and winners and losers from last week. Like I said, Union Pacific for the travel stock, JP Morgan, Zoom. I think this one's interesting. Again, coming in here with earnings, I'm still holding that play, but I noticed even after the run up, and it could be here because of the spread, but we still got like 66% gain on that stock. So I think that one's going to be very interesting to watch. I might even get a premium gain just from the earnings. So maybe we could use that as an opportunity. Again, I haven't made those free or anything. Oh, and that does remind me too, if you guys have been following the ASOM play, I did make those free on Friday. So remember, I still have the 200 shares in the portfolio, but we grabbed these 35 calls. Remember, I had 5 of them, spent like $4,000. So we had like a $13,000 or $2,000 gain. The contract prices were weird. I had to sell 4 out of 5 to get my initial investment plus cash back. So now we have one free leap of a $35 call in the money. So I'm holding those. Again, I'm going to be watching a lot of those plays from last week. Watch HD again, some of the ones I'm in already with the leaps, but I do want to see how they start positioning because you are now going to get closer to earnings. So some of these might be very, very attractive. Again, I'm watching the premium prices. I am going to be watching the premium tomorrow on Netflix. It doesn't seem like it's made too big of a move coming into the beginning of the year that wasn't really market related. So it might have a big run up tomorrow. I want to see how that plays out. Watch Google, Facebook again with tech, but don't forget that little indicator I showed you last week because it was playing out pretty nice, and it's going to either tell us here if tech kind of goes down or not, but watch the bond yields and how that correlates to some of these growth stocks again, especially the Facebook, Googles, all that. Going to be watching Twitter again. They've kind of been selling off from there. Similar logic, but we'll see. Watch all of the IPOs again. Poshmark and Affirm. Those were the new ones we saw last week. I am not in those, so I want to see how it plays out simply because you remember Wish, Asana, and all of the ones, DoorDash, Airbnb last week, they all went crazy. So I want to see how that plays out. I did bring up the Wish play last week. I do like that. So watch them. And then finally, I will be watching the value stocks. I want to see if they continue some of this tear that they've had. Again, you're seeing like Netflix at the beginning of the year. You could pull up certain stocks. We've seen real big winners. So just keep an eye on any of those big value movers. And even then, we're still holding a lot of those leaps. Like I'm saying, there's just a lot of companies here to watch tomorrow. I even want to keep an eye on Uber and Snapchat. We've been seeing how they are, and these are going to be very pivotal earnings companies. These may be ones I want to strangle. So how we come into the beginning of this week and even how some things play out, it is going to be very crucial. And then finally, watch TLT. It is facing out, and I think this is probably going to be the biggest key here. Although we are getting the dollar moving, you're seeing the dollar go up. It's not spiking up, and remember what I said, if you do see it spike up, that may not be too good, but we'll see as a result of earnings, this may get some things to move. So I am going to be watching all those. A lot of people have asked if we're going to make plays on them. I'm probably going to wait on any of these. If you remember, if you've seen, and even you guys could take a look at your portfolios, a lot of January 15th contracts expired this week. So pretty much a lot of your portfolios should be cleaned out. So I encourage you, less trades, more profits, and focus on time here. But what we're going to see here in this next few weeks, again, the policy news, everything, it's going to be exciting, and we have earnings, so I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to be diligent, baby. But the Cole loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.